Hey everyone, so just jumping in before we go through the whole step-by-step guide. So there's two things. One, I have this Instagram page, Alessandro Builds AI. So basically here I have a post which goes through exactly, my expertise and why I'm making this video. Essentially, I was in Dubai and we have set this up for 15 businesses in person in 24 hours. We did the onboarding process of Openclaw, and then we also gave them a very clear understanding on how exactly it works and how they can implement it for their business, what are the different use cases, etc. So if you're interested in that, just check this post, put a comment, and you will receive direct information on that. In this video, I'm going to basically show you a whole step-by-step process on how to get started with Openclaw, the different use cases, and also I show exactly how it's set up on my side in Telegram. So this is a setup for the Mac Mini, how to set this up. You will have access to this. Just check the link in the description. And yeah, again, you'll have access to all of this. It's very easy if you follow the SOP. We have it for a local computer setup, but also for the virtual private server instead of a Mac Mini. So I give both of these options. Started. Hopefully this video is going to be useful for you. If you have any questions, again, feel free to just put it in the description and then I'll help you directly. Bye-bye. I'm doing this myself. It's doing it automatically, so it's proactive. Then it's also giving me a recap of the ad performance, expenses logged. So these are my business expenses. New lead enriched. So whenever a new lead gets enriched, time check. So just looks at how much more time do I have in the week to hit my goals in the year. And then competitor reels. So just scrapes the reels of my competitors and then gives me 3 different types of content angles that I can record this week on. Hello everyone, so this is going to be a very quick video showing you how to set up Openclaw, ClawBot, whatever you want to call it. So essentially me and people in our team, we have been using this for the last 14 days and we have been really trying to figure out what is the best personal use case, business use case, and I'm confident to say that we have pretty much overused this thing for the last 14 days. At the beginning, I think everyone was pretty skeptical about this, including myself. I just thought that it was a bunch of API connections and that you could just replicate it with Manus or with Claude or with Claude Code, and that basically it wasn't really anything special. However, after using it for more time, and especially when Claude Opus 4.6 came out, it really changed everything. So we use this on a daily basis, like 24/7. I'll go through a couple use cases after I go through the installation guide, but essentially what you want to do is you want to go on openclaw.ai and then you want to scroll down and you're going to just copy paste the quick start, and then you'll open your terminal. So just by searching the terminal on your computer, and then you can open it. By the way, you do not need a Mac Mini for this. You can do this on Windows. You can do this on your laptop if you want to. The only thing is, if you want this to work 24/7, you will need to configure your computer, or your Mac Mini, or your desktop, your Windows desktop, whatever you're going to install it on, to be always on and to always be connected to Wi-Fi, obviously. Now, there are 2 ways. There's you can do it on your Mac Mini, or you can also do it on a VPS, which is a virtual private server. Now, a virtual private server is just basically, just to keep it simple, it's like a website that you can only access with that URL, so no one can find it. So it's a virtual private server, it's private. So there's 2 ways that you can install it. On my side, I've tested it on a virtual private server and I've tested it on the Mac Mini, which I have right now. And it comes to the conclusion that having it on a Mac Mini is much more useful because you can do way more things. You can take a screenshot of a page. You can ask your ClawBot, for example, to have access to your Google Chrome. You can basically configure it to have access to any type of app or software that you have installed on your Mac through a method that's called CLI. There's much more flexibility in what you can do with the Mac if you have it installed on your Mac Mini. Now, people just get it installed on a Mac Mini because the Mac Mini is very small. You can just store it somewhere. It's very easy, and it looks good, to be honest, compared to having like a big ass desktop computer on the Windows. So what you're going to do is you're just going to copy paste this, go into your terminal, and you'll paste it in here. And then basically what will happen, you'll just go through a whole onboarding part. It will install everything that it needs to install. Now we will just configure this together right now. Now in my case, I already do have an instance. It's on my other profile in the Mac Mini. So as you can see, I have two profiles. I have Alessandro Colford and then Alessandro Test. Now I already have a Claude bot that's configured on Alessandro Colford, and now I'm just going to configure a new one which will have a total different use case, probably more personal use case, and then the other one will be a business use case. Now there is one thing with Openclaw that is not yet 100% there, which is the memory. Now of course you can configure this, and what you can do is you can create like a database. In Superbase you can have it that it stores data over a period of time, and so that it just remembers everything. However, what I believe currently the right setup is to have multiple Claude bots, like main bots, not sub-agents, for different use cases. So one for your personal life, one for your business life, and one maybe for like research or anything you want to do, like API triggers, and that basically these three bots, or however many bots that you made, that they're all interconnected to one. Now, just to make sure, when you do that, you will need to have multiple Claude accounts or just one Claude API key. But yeah, if you use the API key, it can be very expensive. If you use the Claude authentication token, you can get banned. That's the only downside of doing that. The reason why you can get banned is because it's against Claude's terms of service. But to be honest with you, if you're just starting out and you're just installing this is not important for now. You can always switch it to the API key whenever you feel more comfortable and whenever you actually think that you're going to use this properly. So here we went through the whole onboarding part. It's going to ask to generate and configure a gateway token. Before this, you would have a security notice saying that basically there are risks with installing this type of this type of system. The risk is more for legal matters. Now there is a risk, and basically the risk is if you download something or if someone gets access to your gateway token, they can essentially control your Claude bot, which is connected to all of your apps and to your computer and everything. So it's super important for you to not share that, and also to not download random shit on your computer. So that's super important. Now, there's also other security measures that you need to take action on, which I'll go through at the end of the video. Right now, let's just go through the whole onboarding. So we will want to generate and configure a gateway token now, yes. We can tighten the permission, yes. And we want to create a new session, want to create a new OAuth, and everything. We will install the gateway service now, and we'll do it on the node. And then basically after this, you also need to configure the skills, the plugins, etc. To be honest, you can just directly skip this, and you can just straight away get to creating this, and we'll be able to configure everything after that is needed. So let's just wait for this to load. In the meantime, I really do suggest that you go on their website and that you kind of read the different use cases that are written here. So you can go to view all, and then here you have a bunch of shout outs, and you can just read the different types of use cases. Now what happened is it opened the motherboard of Openclaw. So this is the gateway dashboard. This is where whenever you have an issue or whenever you want to configure something, before you have it configured on Telegram or Slack or WhatsApp, you would go here. Now, as you can see, it says disconnected. This is because it does not have my gateway key configured. So for that, I'll have to go into configurations, and I'll have to configure it properly. Now, of course, I'm not going to show my gateway key, otherwise everyone will have access to my Claude bot. So I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to set everything up here, and then we can continue. Okay, so as you can see, there you go. Everything works. The health is okay. That means that everything has been configured correctly. Now, I'll just explain a little bit the whole dashboard and how this all works. So essentially, you have the chat. So this is really whenever you need something to be done or whenever something is broken, you can directly just speak in the chat here. So we're going to configure this into Telegram, but sometimes what happens is the connection can break. Now this, from the last 14 days that I've used this has happened maybe twice, and I had to go in the chat to basically to tell what's happening. Now this really just only happens once you spam it with big tasks. So yeah, just something to take into consideration. So now what I'll say is basically like, I need to configure you in Telegram. In the meantime, what we'll be doing is we'll just go through the whole page. So here you have an overview. So this is a gateway token. You must not you must not provide the whole token. Well, I'm showing it because I'm going to delete this account after. Yeah, so here you have the overview. So this is the token, the gateway token that you must not show. But yeah, basically here you can just see that the status is connected, how long it has been on, etc. Now this is kind of more high level stuff. Then you can go in channels. It just shows what is configured. So if you want your WhatsApp configured, then you just show the QR, you can scan it, and that'll be configured. You can see that nothing is configured for the moment, but we'll do Telegram. Instances, this just means where it's running. So currently it's running on my Mac. So this is the terminal, and then it's running in the control UI, which is here. Then you have the different sessions. It's not important. The usage is not important. Cron drops, this is important. So basically, one of the main and the most valuable use cases is to have your Claude bot do things in the background automatically without you needing to ask it to do. Like, for example, an example is, let's say a client pays a Stripe invoice. I receive an email. Then what I want to do is I would like to onboard that client automatically. So it will automatically create a Slack channel. It will automatically create a contract, send the contract, or a receipt or whatever, inform the team that basically this person has paid all automatically. Yes, you can do that with Make. You can do that with API and automation tools. That was probably not a good example. A better example would be like, for example, you're running ads for your clients, and there is an ad where the cost per lead goes above your maximum ideal cost per lead, and it will notify you directly, and basically you'll be aware of what's happening. Normally what would happen is you would probably check your ad account the next morning and you would see that you have been paying way more for the leads generated, and obviously that is not something that's good. So in that case, you could be notified in real time when certain things are not when you should be notified. So that's what cron jobs are for, and you can create your own job by filling this in. Now, you can also just directly chat to the Claude bot, and you can just tell it to configure that directly for you. Then you have agents. So this is not really that important, just shows where it's stored, and then you can also change the different models here if you want to. Skills, this is pretty important. Now, this is where you have to be careful to not get hacked. So there is basically, you can download skills from the internet. So skills are basically equipping your Claude bot, your Openclaw with skills. So certain things that I can do, like for example, scrape Twitter, or like for example, research about your competitors on the Facebook ad library. Like these different types of things are called skills, and there's pre-made skills that you can download on Openclaw's forum, which I don't really recommend, because that's how people are getting that's how people are getting hacked, because they download the skill, and then in the script of the skill there is a prompt or a script that basically tells the AI to send all of the API keys to a certain email address, and obviously that's something that you don't want. So I would always recommend to just, whatever you need to get built, just put it in the chat, and then your AI will do it for you. Then you have nodes. This is not important. I should probably not show certain things, but yeah, then you have nodes, so this is not important. You have config, this is not important. Debug, so if there's anything that's going wrong, you can go here. To be honest with you, if you're not high level, then the best is just to chat with your AI. So that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to set up the Telegram. So here I'm in Telegram. As you can see here, basically this is my bot that's already configured on my other account. So I have two bots. This is mainly for everything, personal, business, everything. I've been using this one for the last 14 days. I've like overused this bot so much. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create a new bot with bot father. So for this, what you need to do, you just search bot father, and then you're going to basically just put slash bot, I believe it's /new bot, and then you put /new bot, you put a name for your bot, etc. In this case, I'm just going to use this one that I created for the YouTube video, and I'm just going to copy paste all of this directly into the chat here, like so, send, and then here I can go to my bot and I'll be able to directly chat with it. So it's going to configure it, and then I'll have to pair the message. By the way, if you try to message my Telegram bot, it won't work. That's why we need to pair it. Now, obviously, me giving my pairing code here is not the best idea. But yeah, basically this is how you're going to pair the Telegram, and now it's paired successfully. So what I can do is I can actually send a message through Telegram, and it will speak to my Claude bot here. So if I say hello, then you can see it's typing and it will reply directly. So now it's just going to ask me some questions to configure it. I'm just going to say you are going to be my test bot. Okay, so then once it's done, well, basically you have your Telegram configured, and now we can directly close this page. Essentially, the main value that I've seen with using ClaudeBot is basically you have all of your different apps that are connected. So let's say you're running an agency, you run ads for your for local businesses. With that, you would have your Facebook ads, right? You would have your Facebook ads. And here you'd have B2B and B2C. So let's just say B2B first. Then you would have your B2C Facebook ads. And then let's say you have your project management board, which would be like Monday, which I'll show what I mean with this. Like monday.com, or you would have ClickUp. So for example here, this is my Monday.com project management board. So you can see these are my admin finance tasks, my setters tasks, sales team tasks, media buying tasks, etc. And then obviously, well, there is Go High Level, which is a huge one. So Go High Level, you have the agency account. Which is B2B. And then you also have the Go High Level B2C accounts, so sub-accounts. So, yeah, so you have all of this. Then what you also have is you have probably your business expenses. So this would be like your Wise business account. Then you also have your Google Calendar. That's important. Then you also have your Slack with internal channels plus client channels. Then you have your email, of course. That's important. Then you also have the recordings, so like Fireflies, Phantom, which is the most used, Grain, which is a new one. So these are all AI note takers, and this would basically take notes from your sales calls, internal calls, client syncs. And essentially, the reason why I'm putting all of this out is, well, basically you have so much data you have so much data that you need to analyze, and it's just nearly impossible, and it's just super time consuming to analyze all of this all at once. Like even alone, just these data points, for you to have a good understanding of what is happening everywhere in your agency, in your business, like there's just so many things. So basically the strategy here, and what I've seen the most useful that ClaudeBot has been, is essentially linking all of these different types of data points into ClaudeBot for it to use and to analyze and to give you insights on. So you can basically just connect all of this directly to ClaudeBot. So I'm just going to do all this. Say this is ClaudeBot, so this is your AI assistant. And what ClaudeBot will be able to do is it will basically be able to analyze everything all together at once. And it will also be able to basically give you different types of notifications. So in terms of notifications, you have the daily briefs. So daily briefs. So you have the daily briefs like Monday, morning and night reports. And this could be, for example, what I have set up is in the morning I get a report which essentially tells me my Whoop stats, so how I slept, my spending of the last 24 hours, and whatever happened at night, my Facebook ads reports, my Go High Level stats from the night. So like, for example, how many people have moved from a certain stage in Go High Level, how many new leads do we have, any sort of important messages that I should be looking at. And then I also have my night reports, which is, for example, what have I done during the day, what have I done today, where have my time been spent, and then also just a day recap on everything that has happened internally in my business. So with having all of this all connected to the ClaudeBot, like this just gives you a very good insight on what is happening. Now you can have this in Claude, you can have this set up in Manus or in ChatGPT. However, it's never going to directly notify you whenever something urgent pops up. So that's where ClaudeBot comes into play, and this is why this is going to disrupt everything, every single business, every single industry, because you can set up literally whatever you need to set up with ClaudeBot. So you have the daily briefs, you have the urgent notifications, So this could be whenever, for example, in a Slack channel, if you have 30, 40, 50 clients, then how are you going to manage every single client in every channel? You're probably going to have a client success manager, but how long does it take for the client success manager to report to you whenever something is wrong? Probably could be an hour, could be, probably way too long. So you could literally put your ClaudeBot in every single channel and have it notify you whenever something doesn't seem right, or whenever something seems right as well, if you want to be notified about that. So you have urgent notifications, the daily briefs, and I think that's it for now. So now what we're going to do is what we'll do is I'll actually show you different case studies live, with different messages, what you can get, how you can set it up, etc. And what will be replicate ads directly from your winning ads from your account. So let's say, for example, that I had a campaign that was running and that was doing really well. Well, my ClaudeBot can directly understand that, and it could potentially create different types of variations of my ads, my winning ads, and publish them automatically. And if they stay within KPI, then this is just amazing, right? So here there's a couple of test notifications. So this is, for example, what the morning brief would look like. So my calendar, So this is what I would have on my calendar, my revenue in the last 24 hours, my inbox in the email. So yeah, my health with my Whoop. So it shows the recovery score, HRV, and what is super cool is that everything is just in one place, right? I don't need to go check my calendar. I don't need to go check my Stripe. I don't need to go check my Google, then my Whoop. It's like just so much time wasted going through all of these different apps. But now I just have everything in one go, sends it automatically Sunday morning, 10 minutes before I wake up, because it tracks my Whoop. It will know when I'm going to wake up. Then tool alerts. So me, what I do is I create custom AI tools for License and Scale, which is a community where basically we help you scale your agency to 100, 200K per month. And then we also have a lower ticket program, which allows you to start your AI-enabled agency. But for example, here there was an error with the resource finder, and it automatically reboots it whenever there is an error. So I'm not even doing this myself, it's doing it automatically, so it's proactive. Then it's also giving me a recap of the ad performance, expenses logged. So these are my business expenses. New lead enriched, so whenever a new lead gets enriched. Time check, so just looks at how much more time do I have in the week to hit my goals in the year. And then competitor reels, so just scrapes the reels of my competitors, and then gives me 3 different types of content angles that I can record this week on. So that's basically how that would look like. Now, how do we actually set this up? It's pretty simple. So in your Telegram bot, what we're going to do is the first thing and then in the business profile, you'll be able to basically get your location ID. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to say configure to fetch information from my Go High Level account. And then here I'll say location ID is this. Right, and then my private integration key is this. So to get your private integration key, which is also like your API key, click on private integration, you create a new integration, you put a name. So I'll just put YouTube demo. And then here you can select all of your scopes like this, create, confirm, and then you can copy this directly and you paste it in here. And here I'm also going to say API v2, because it has to use the v2 of Go High Level's API. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'll show the SOP that I created. So this will be available. You just need to click on the link in the description. So essentially, in this SOP, it will show you exactly how to set up the Claude bot to configure in Slack, to read your meta ads, to also read from Windsor API. For people who do not know what Windsor API is, just a better way. It's just a much easier way to get your meta ads data. However, you cannot directly get the ad itself. So you cannot see the ad itself, you will just get the data. So for some people, seeing the ad is not important, but if you do want to replicate your winning ads, for example, you would need to connect to your meta ads account, not your Windsor API, if that makes sense. Then go high level, Monday, Google Drive, and optimizations. Now, as you can see here, we have the local computer setup and the VPS setup. So what's the difference? So you can actually install CloudBot in 2 ways. You can install it on your local computer. So me, I have a Mac Mini. This can be on any type of computer. It can be on a Windows, it can be on your laptop. But again, it just needs to be connected 24/7 to internet and needs to be on at all times. Then you have a VPS, which is a virtual private server. This is basically your computer that's uploaded to the cloud, and it has its own private website that you can directly open whenever you want, wherever you want. Now, this is a great option as well. However, what I've seen is that, the local computer is much more, the local computer is much better because you have more flexibility in what you can do. If you need a type of document or something that you downloaded, or if you want to do a screenshot of something, you can directly ask your local computer to do that, and boom, you'll get it in Telegram, Slack, wherever you configured this. And so basically we go into the Slack installation, and here basically I just explain how to set how to set it up to directly chat with you in Slack, what to explain, etc. Meta ads as well. So this is pretty long, but this is like, for example, some examples of how you could use this. So, for example, for daily performance summary, give me a summary of November's performance and then you would put the name of the ad account that you would want. Show me spend, leads, and cost per lead, and then this is how it would look like. It would send you a table and everything. Same thing for find the best ads. Same thing to get specific metrics. So what was the total spend and cost per and CPM for all my accounts in November, and they'll send you everything. And then also for setting up cron jobs, daily notifications, then you would have to just literally say it, set up a daily report every morning at 8 a.m. and send a summary of all accounts, spend, number of leads generated, etc. And so it will literally send you that every single morning in the channel that you asked it to send it to. Okay, after that you also have build me a weekly report comparing all of the different sub-accounts, which client is doing better, what is the top deals, etc. Like this is all valuable information which for you to do yourself would take way too much time and you would probably not do it. And for you to tell Manus or Claude directly to do it, it would not do it at this level. Then you have Monday.com, which is the project management board, which I was showing here. So this is basically just shows all of the tasks that our team needs to do. This is the same thing. Here are other use cases. Like for example, what are our stuck and overdue tasks? I was going to say it. Give me a Monday plus Go High Level plus meta ads combined morning briefing. This is a very important one because it basically puts all of the data in one. Like I said, that's the most valuable thing you can do. Like one of the most valuable things that you can do with CloudBot. But essentially, it will just give you an overall explanation of what's happening with your business. Sync new Go High Level leads as tasks on Monday.com with contact details in the description. And by the way, you guys can just directly copy paste these prompts and give it to your CloudBot, and it will help you configure all of this if you want to. And then same thing with Google Drive. So here I just explained how to set it up. You can ask it, for example, find me X resource, upload this file to Google Drive and create a new public folder name. What are my available slots tomorrow? I need to find time for a 30-minute meeting with a team member. And you can also create this for your internal team to use, right? A really good use case that we found is basically we have a payment log and we need to remind ourselves when do certain clients have a renewal coming up. And now, of course, if you're managing, 30, 80, 120 clients, then obviously this becomes super valuable. You want to be notified 1 week in advance before a renewal is coming up. So you can just directly get notified whenever a renewal is coming up. And then you can also get notified if this person has paid, who has not paid, and then you can just be proactive on these kinds of issues because you can connect the CloudBot to your payment processor, to the calendar of when the payments are due, and then also to your payment log, which would show you when a renewal will come up, what is the contract that he has, what is the rate that this person has, etc. So very, very, very valuable things here. And of course, there's a lot of other things that you can do, but these are basically the main use cases for business. On the business side, if you're running an agency with Go High Level, running a business that uses Go High Level, this is how these are some examples of how you could directly use it. Now let's just go back to Telegram and let's see. So we have connected successfully to our Go High Level account. So now what I could be like is, okay, great. Can you just give me some insights on how we did today, please? And now it's going to go through the whole Go High Level API, fetch all the correct data, and it will compile it and then show it to me directly here. Okay, so there you go. So here's your UK tree cutters daily snapshot. So we had 108 leads that all came from Facebook ads, and then it gave me a pipeline overview, 20 opportunities in total pipeline value, how many we won, how many is still open, how many we lost. And then we could also ask, for example, okay, well, can you give me the sales scripts that my sales team had today, so then I can understand more like why did we lose these 3 opportunities. So yeah, so that's basically an overview of what is possible with CloudBot, how to set it up. I will do a second video on how to set up a virtual private server, but essentially it's very easy actually. It's nothing too complicated. And then I also give different examples. Now, if you do want to have this document, this SOP, then basically I've created kind of like a Slack integration. So normally what you would need to do if you would want to have this integrated in Slack, you'd have to create a Slack app. It's a long process. It's pretty annoying. So I just made basically Jerome, where you can directly just integrate Slack, the Slack app that I created, into your Slack, and you configure it however you want. I cannot see the data or anything. But essentially, if you would want that, just click on the link that's in the description. You can join the school channel as well. We also discuss about the different CloudBot use cases there. But yeah, just fill in the form, join the school channel, and then from there you can have access to, and then from there all of the resources will be there. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick video on this, nothing too complicated. Hopefully this was valuable, and I'll see you into the next one.